This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Oh, hi there. Folks, Warner Brothers is at it again. Last year, I made a video about Warner Brothers Discovery and their unbelievable decision to cancel two basically finished films, the live-action Batgirl movie and the animated Scoob Holiday Haunt. In my video, I laid out that while this is not an unheard of practice in Hollywood, these films are perhaps the most high-profile and expensive canceled but finished films in history. And this cancellation was met with immediate backlash, but it didn't stop them. They stuck to their guns, and the movies have not been released or leaked since. And worse, it seems that the backlash has not dissuaded them from doing it again. In this video, I'll briefly go over the two scrapped movies before getting to the main attraction, the live-action animation hybrid, Coyote vs. Acme, a movie that the internet, filmmakers, and even members of Congress may have saved from a similar fate. Enjoy. Based on the DC character Barbara Gordon and her alter ego, Batgirl was going to be a direct-to-streaming movie, part of the DC Extended Universe. It starred Leslie Grace as Batgirl, J.K. Simmons as Commissioner Gordon, her father, Brendan Fraser as the villain Firefly, and Michael Keaton reprising his role as Batman. And somehow Killer Moth was in the mix too. Filming took place in November 2021 to March 2022 in Glasgow, Scotland. A 2022 or 2023 release was expected. Everything seemed to be on track, but the big question was, how was Michael Keaton's Batman gonna factor into this? Since up until this point, Ben Affleck was playing a very different version of the character in the DC Extended Universe. And this is really its own can of worms. Batgirl was meant to be released after The Flash. In that movie, Michael Keaton's Batman returns due to Barry Allen and his time-traveling shenanigans that alter reality. And spoiler warning if you haven't seen The Flash, which I would highly recommend, it is a complete train wreck with a few really good moments in it. The Flash thinks he has fixed the timeline, but because of one small change he made, it's revealed that in this universe, the Batman is different, now being played by George Clooney, reprising his role from the disastrous 1997 movie Batman and Robin. While I would love to give George Clooney another shot at this role, based on the behind-the-scenes photos, this does not appear to be the original ending. It looks like they had originally filmed Michael Keaton's Batman to be the main Batman of this universe, and it would have probably led into the Batgirl film, with an older Batman now played by Michael Keaton mentoring a new generation of heroes. As of now, we only have behind-the-scenes photos of this alternate ending of The Flash, potentially making it lost media if Warner Brothers never decides to release it. But since The Flash was delayed and it led to Batgirl being scheduled before The Flash, it's not clear if they were going to explain why there was a different Batman in this movie all of a sudden. But whether they were going to explain it or not, a few test screenings were held for the Batgirl movie. Audiences rated it in the low 60s, but reshoots were upcoming and the special effects were still unfinished. During this time, another unrelated film was in production at Warner Brothers, Scoob Holiday Haunt, a Christmas-themed prequel to the 2020 movie Scoob. Most of the same cast and crew returned, and it was given a budget of $40 million, scheduled for a December 2022 release. But in April of that year, Warner Bros. Merged with Discovery to form Warner Bros. Discovery. Leadership in this newly formed company shifted, and they wanted to move away from streaming releases and focus on big theatrical events. During this time, they considered increasing the budget for Batgirl and releasing it in theaters. But in August 2022, DC Films and Warner Bros. Discovery announced that though both films were finished, Batgirl and Scoob Holiday Haunt were canceled, instead being used for a tax write-off as part of the company's cost-cutting measures. The move was strategic and intentionally timed so that the newly formed Warner Bros. Discovery wouldn't be responsible for losses acquired before the merger. The cast and crew of both films didn't know about their cancellation until the New York Post broke the story. The directors of Batgirl attempted to log into the Warner Bros. Servers to recover the film, but found that it was already gone. Batgirl was abandoned, left unfinished. But since Scoob Holiday Haunt was already paid for, the movie was completely finished on November 4th, 2022, well after its cancellation was announced, and despite Warner Bros. Discovery having no plans to release it. Both films were given a funeral screening, shown one final time for the cast and crew before being erased forever. Because it was being used as a tax write-off, the film cannot be released in any form without Warner Brothers first paying back their tax credit. And there is a real possibility that the movies have been permanently destroyed. James Gunn and Peter Safran are currently working on a rebooted DC universe, to which they said Batgirl's inclusion is inevitable. It's unknown if Leslie Grace will be involved. During this time, Warner Bros. Discovery would also cancel the Scooby-Doo films Scooby-Doo and the Mystery Pups and Scooby-Doo and the Haunted High Rise. And they even began removing content that was already released on HBO Max in order to not have to pay out residuals to the cast and crew. But the real heroes in this whole mess are the team behind the movie Scooby-Doo and Crypto 2. Upon word of the upcoming movies being scrapped, someone leaked the entire movie online. Warner Bros. Discovery would claim that this one was never going to be canceled and released it on streaming, but I do not believe them for a second. To this day, Batgirl is the largest budget finished film in Hollywood history to go unreleased, at somewhere between $70 to $90 million.
Yeah, I bought a giant life-size slingshot from you, and it just slammed me into a mountain.
Wile E. Coyote is part of the Looney Tunes, created in 1948 by animator Chuck Jones and writer Michael Maltese. The character debuted in the 1949 theatrical short Fast and Furious, alongside his arch nemesis, the Roadrunner. In every episode, the Coyote tries to catch the Roadrunner using increasingly complex mail-order devices from the Acme Corporation that always comically backfire. The whole thing was originally meant to be a parody of chase cartoons, like Tom and Jerry, but it ended up becoming popular in its own right. Over the years, the character Wile E. Coyote has been in a ton of shorts. He would eventually become a villain to Bugs Bunny and was incorporated into other Looney Tunes cartoons, including some direct-to-video movies and some small parts in big-budget films like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Looney Tunes Back in Action, and the Space Jam films. But in his nearly 75 years, the Coyote has never had his own big-budget solo release, always playing second, third, or even fourth fiddle to the bigger personalities in the Looney Tunes library. But that was about to change. The idea for a Wile E. Coyote movie had been thrown around for quite some time. In August 2018, Warner Bros. Pictures announced a solo Wile E. Coyote film produced by Lego Batman director Chris McKay. Around this same time, TV writers and producers John and Josh Silberman were brought on as writers. Over a year later, in 2019, a director was confirmed, Dave Green, best known for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows. With the director on board, the movie began to shift. Chris McKay, along with the writers, would leave the project, and in 2020, the core team was established. Dave Green as director, a relatively unknown longtime Hollywood casting director, Sammy Birch, was brought on as a screenwriter, and Birch, along with James Gunn and Jeremy Slater, were credited for coming up with the story. The movie was going to be a live-action hybrid, based on the 1990 New Yorker article by humorist Ian Fraser, Coyote v. Acme. This famous article details Wile E. Coyote's lawyer giving an opening statement in a lawsuit against Acme Corporation for selling the Coyote faulty products. Describing an injury resulting from the use of Acme products, the lawyer says, "The sequence of collisions resulted in systematic physical damage to Mr. Coyote, flattening of the cranium, sideways displacement of the tongue, reduction of length of legs and upper body, and compression of vertebrae from the base of tail to head. Repetition of blows along a vertical axis produced a series of regular horizontal folds in Mr. Coyote's body tissues, a rare and painful condition which caused Mr. Coyote to expand upward and contract downward alternately as he walked, and emit an off-key accordion-like wheezing with every step. The distracting and embarrassing nature of this symptom has been a major impediment to Mr. Coyote's pursuit of a normal social life." The lawyer closes by saying, "Mr. Coyote respectfully requests that the court regard these larger economic implications and assesses punitive damages in the amount of $17 million. In addition, Mr. Coyote seeks actual damages, missed meals, medical expenses, days lost from professional occupation of $1 million. General damages, mental suffering, injury to reputation of $20 million, and attorney's fees of $750,000. Total damages, $38,750,000. By awarding Mr. Coyote the full amount, this court will censure defendant, its directors, officers, shareholders, successors, and assigns in the only language they understand and reaffirm the right of the individual predator to equal protection under the law." Translating this into the movie, Wile E. Coyote, voiced by Eric Bauza, hires a hapless human attorney, played by Will Forte, to sue the Acme Corporation for all their products backfiring on him in the pursuit of the Roadrunner. The attorney finds out that the CEO of Acme, who's played by John Cena, is his former boss, motivating him to win the case for both himself and the Coyote. Filming took place in Albuquerque, New Mexico, a location referenced many times in the cartoons, concluding in May 2022. Screen testings were held, earning overwhelmingly positive reviews. It was scheduled for release on July 21st, 2023, but will be replaced on the schedule by the Barbie movie and was never rescheduled, which raised some red flags given Warner Bros. Discovery's track record. And on November 9th, 2023, it was confirmed. Coyote vs. Acme was banished to the Shadow Realm, home of Batgirl and Scoob Holiday Haunt, in exchange for a $30 million tax write-down. Just like in the case of Batgirl and Holiday Haunt, the cast and crew were not informed until news broke. In response to the cancellation, director Dave Green wrote on Twitter, "For 3 years, I was lucky enough to make a movie about Wile E. Coyote, the most persistent, passionate, and resilient character of all time. I was surrounded by a brilliant team who poured their souls into this project for years. We were all determined to honor the legacy of these historic characters and actually get them right. Along the ride, we were embraced by test audiences who rewarded us with fantastic scores. I am beyond proud of the final product and beyond devastated by WB's decision, but in the spirit of Wile E. Coyote, resilience and persistence win the day." After the announcement, the backlash was immediate. Warner Bros. Was inundated with angry phone calls from filmmakers, animation studios, and talent agents. Directors, actors, and producers were canceling meetings with the studio left and right, and the controversy even garnered the attention of the US government. Congressman Joaquin Castro tweeted, "The WBD tactic of scrapping fully made films for tax breaks is predatory and anti-competitive. As the Justice Department and Federal Trade Commission revise their antitrust guidelines, they should review this conduct. As someone remarked, it's like burning down a building for the insurance money." And I do get where the congressman is coming from. It doesn't seem right for a company to be able to make a product, decide they don't like it, and then by not releasing it, ask the government for a tax break. The internet collectively dogpiled on Warner Bros. Discovery, not willing to let them make such a despicable move for a second time. And just like the director said, resilience and persistence win the day. On November 13th, 2023, they caved. The publication Puck broke the story. Warner Bros. Discovery, in response to the backlash, uncanceled the movie, allowing its filmmakers to find a new distributor. We won. The media might just not be lost after all. Amazon, Apple, and Netflix have all expressed interest in the movie, but with contracts still not signed and no one officially buying the movie as of yet, we're not out of trouble yet. But if everything goes through, this will be a huge step in dissuading Warner Brothers or any other major studio from trying the same thing in the future. And hopefully, Coyote vs. Acme will become a rare case of almost lost media. This video is sponsored by Squarespace, the go-to place to build your own custom website. Making a great looking website has never been easier. With Squarespace's wide array of beautiful professional website templates combined with their fluid engine, which utilizing drag and drop technology makes these templates infinitely customizable and fun to use, providing a solid foundation that never limits you creatively. You could really just get lost messing around here. And not only is it fun, but it's easy to use. Storage is made useful with Squarespace's new asset library, and setting up an online store could not be easier. If you're selling merch, they will literally take care of production, inventory, and shipping for you. I could go on, but you need to check it out for yourself. Head over to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch your dream website, go to squarespace.com/allthingslost to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain, all while supporting the channel. Again, that's squarespace.com/allthingslost. Thank you so much for watching. As always, leave your suggestions for future videos in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Big shout out to my top tier Patreon supporters. Can you say Rote Goat Mafleur, Miss Dana, Odessa Honeycrisp, and Vinny Cataldo. Thank you all so much. This is Mike with All Things Lost. See you soon.